Ooh. Sorry about that. Had some technical issues. I still don't know what happened, but get some people in here talking about Daytona. Let me see here. How's everybody doing today? It's hard to believe that it's already time for Daytona. Plus, this day's just going fast. Sorry, I'm doing a couple things here. Get right to it. Let some people get in here, though, and we'll talk. The half a milli maker. I really think this is going to be a fun slate, though. I love all the opportunities we have to be contrarian today and just kind of go against the grain, which is kind of like that's my favorite thing to do with NASCAR DFS. That's how I've made my money in the past, and that's how I'm having get some comments in here. Having trouble trying to get different. We'll talk about it. We'll get in there because I think we're going to get. I mean, obviously, Keselowski back there is going to have a ton of ownership. Stenhouse, Bowman. I don't know if a lot of people are going to be on some of these, guys that like the lesser known guys, because I people know to stack the back, but there's also, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, even Christopher Bell sitting there in that, mid-teens to 20s section that people are going to gravitate toward as well. So I don't know if we're going to get high ownerships out of some guys that should. Like a Zane Smith I think is going to be a good way to get different today. Even if you want to go down to Cody Ware, yeah, absolutely. Thinking about Ware, I really like Cody Ware today in tournaments because starting 28th, $5,200. He's going to be so low owned, and he's going to sit there. He's going to ride around in the back, and he's probably going to avoid the wrecks. So that's what you want out of someone like that. We saw we saw in the summer race last year, he can finish top 10, top 5. He can get up there. So I think Ware's a good play. It's kind of, doesn't make you feel good taking Cody Ware starting 28th, but the math makes sense. And if he can get there, he's going to work out. Yep. I love Gragson today. I love pairing him with Zane Smith. I like the correlation of teammates, doing the SVG, host of our pairing, doing, all the Toyotas back there, Justin Haley in there with host of ours as well. But yeah, Gragson, Zane Smith. Yeah. Even like, like pivot off of Priest and Barry. I just don't know how high like both of those guys are going to get. Pull up my spreadsheet here. So we got Hilo Castroneves starting dead last 41st. Obviously the safest play on this slate. Can't go anywhere but up. If he finishes dead last, he's obviously going to score 0, but he's the only guy in the field that cannot score negative points. And his goal is going to be to finish the race. That's all that Castro Neves wants to do. And if he can avoid the carnage and finish the race, he's probably going to finish top 20, and he's probably going to, there's a decent chance he's going to make the optimal lineup with that strategy. So I have no problem. I don't think a ton of people are going to be on Castro Neves today. I like him. Just based on, the math of it. It's he's starting dead last, and people are going to look more toward the bigger names. Send an invite to Nick if he wants to jump in here. He might be able to. I'll add him in. He has some other stuff to do. But if he's able to, he's going to jump on. All right. I'm finding making my hand builds very difficult today. So what kind of issues are you having? Because I love hand building today. I love hand building at super speedways in general. It's actually my preferred way. If I had more time in the day, I would do all lineups. And I didn't do the crack. I don't got a beer. I have a Red Bull. So yeah, you're welcome. It's fun to be back. I love doing live streams. I wish I had the time to always do live streams. But thanks for joining in. Hopefully we all make some money today. Obviously we can't all make money, but hopefully, we all have good days. By the way, if you haven't already, make sure you check out on Rotoballer my content. Sign up if you want to. Last day to save 35%. If you get just my package, you'll get it for $99 for the entire year. Throw in the optimizer and F1 content, $130 for the entire year. You really can't beat that price, guys. Make sure you get there, rotoballer.com. I love going back and forth. Thanks for being in here. If you guys have any questions, any strategy once we start building these lineups, just let me know. Hell yeah. Congratulations. Hopefully if you're getting back into it, good luck. It's always fun. It's so much more fun to watch a race when you have, even if it's like, even the mini max on DraftKings, I have a ton of fun. It's not a ton of money, but it's still something it's fun to root for. Betting, it's always fun to just have money down, something to root for on this race. Make it more exciting. All right. Boost top 10 on. Okay. Yeah. So DraftKings has that boost on top 10 parlay. I put a parlay in just to have one. Nothing. The odds are such dog shit. I wouldn't like go too crazy about this. I would just pick some randoms top 10s that you want to root for. What I went for like a teammate correlation parlay. Again, these top 10 odds are awful. And the fact that you can only do it with the promo, and they wouldn't let me do like some of the combinations I tried to do with top 10s, they wouldn't let me do. It was really weird. Kind of annoying, but it is what it is. But I did Hocevar, SVG, Justin Haley, and Daniel Suarez. That was my 4-way parlay top 10 on DraftKings. The boost got it to plus 25,000. So I just put $5 on it to win 1,257. Top 10s. I know FanDuel, I believe, also has top 10 boosts today. and check these out real quick. Really, I haven't found a ton of stuff that I like to bet today. I have 2 outrights. If you're in the premium Rotoballer, you can see what those are. I think I mentioned I was on Cindric earlier this week before the duels at 28-1. Talked about that on Stacking Denny's. I honestly like if I'm going to use a boost, and to be completely honest here, I haven't fully odds shopped anything. So if there's better odds out there, ignore me. But like, I would just like, if I was going to use a boost, I'd use it on like a Cody Ware, or like a Herbst or something. Like any of the longer shots, that's what I'd use it for. But again, there's not a ton of good stuff out there. I did see like Caesars had like a leading at lap 10 odds, and which I thought was cool. I just thought that was interesting. I haven't bet anything on it, but I thought it was interesting. All these additional markets that are becoming available to start the year is really fun to see. You know, the most fastest laps on DraftKings, that's fun. Hopefully we continue to get this stuff all year. That would be awesome. Hopefully I continue adding to it. Let me see here. Too much to ask Truex just to finish the race. I agree. I'm high on Truex. I think a lot of people are. He's a good super speedway racer. You know, it's not going to take a lot. Obviously, chalk play back there. I think I missed him when I was talking earlier about some of those guys in the back. But obviously, you know, he's going to be pretty high owned today, and I like him. I mean, how can you not? Also, that car looks really good. I love that paint scheme. It's better than the paint schemes when he was with JGR. That car looks really good. I really like it. But he's also one of those guys, I have him projected right in the mid-20s of ownership. I'd still go overweight on him. Someone like that. Truex is obviously a great place differential play today. Martin Truex, yep, absolutely. And then, yeah, Zane Smith as a pivot. I agree with you 100%. I like Zane Smith today. Obviously, before we get digging into some lineups here, place differential. That is the only thing that matters at Daytona. That is the only thing that matters at Talladega, these super speedways, and a lot of randomness and luck is what's needed to be good here. But at the same time, you have to. I always say it's not who you pick at super speedways; it's how you build your lineup. The only thing, I don't care whose name is next to the most important stat. The most important stat today is starting position. That is the only thing that matters. Because let me see if I can share my other screen here. There we go. By the way, Stephen Malazzi shirt today. Shout out to him. All right. Let me share this. This is going to be hard to see because it's like, there we go. Okay. Starting position versus, let me get this banner out of the way. Starting position versus finishing position. This is the only thing that matters. And I stress this every single time we come to Daytona, we come to Talladega. I know it is enticing to take the big names starting up front. It's normal for normal DFS players to, or normal DFS races to go with the pole sitter, to go with the guy starting up top. The fact of the matter is the math does not make sense at Talladega. The first thing I've done when I have made lineups today is completely take out the top seven top 7 starting positions. I do not want any exposure to Chase Briscoe, to Austin Cindric, to Bubba Wallace, to Eric Jones, William Byron, Chris Buescher, or Ty Dillon. I don't want any of it because the chances of them making the optimal lineup are so low that if they combine, if those 7 drivers combine for, 20, 30, 40% ownership, like those guys combined, I'm getting an edge just by not taking them because chances are they're not going to do it. Even if they go out there and lead a ton of laps, it takes so much for these guys starting up front to make it into the optimal lineup because Briscoe starting on the pole, winning from the pole, not taking into account any fastest laps, which he's not going to get if he leads, by the way. Fastest laps are going to come from guys standing back in the pack and just riding around. Those are the ones that are going to get fastest laps. That's why guys like John Hunter Nemechek, Eric Jones, guys that ride around the back are the ones that grab the fastest laps at Daytona, and they still don't grab a lot. It's the max of like last year, I think was 12. But Chase Briscoe starting from the pole and winning from the pole, 45 DraftKings points. Okay? Could be decent, but here's the thing. Let's take Jimmy Johnson starting 40th. Okay? And my mouse isn't really showing on the screen. Jimmy Johnson starting 40th, scores 45 DraftKings points if he finishes 19th. So you understand the reasoning here of taking away these guys that start so far up. I have no interest whatsoever in any of the guys starting 1st through 7th. And I will die on this hill. It's something Nick and I talk about every single time. I wouldn't touch him. Yeah, and I get that. When you see people, when you see it work out, I mean, we saw it a couple years ago where it did work out, where a high qualifier ended up in the optimal. But here's the thing, especially in this big contest on DraftKings, the $500,000 maker, the chances of the optimal lineup being the one that wins it are also extremely low. So yes, I know that's the goal. We all want to hit the optimal lineup, but the chances of actually doing that are so incredibly low that it is much better to just not take these guys and assume what normally happens is going to happen again, which is that they're not going to be in the optimal. I completely disagree. I don't think you have to sprinkle in any of these guys. Well, 12th back, yes, 12th back makes sense. I'm talking guys in the top, starting in the top 10. The only people that I am potentially interested in starting to sprinkle is Denny Hamlin starting 8th, Chastain starting 9th, or Logano starting 10th. And those are the only guys I'm potentially interested in the top 10. But even then, Hamlin, because of his name, is going to have such high ownership that I know for a fact I'm going to be significantly underweight on him. I might be with the field on Chastain, and I know I'm going to be underweight on Logano. And I understand Logano's probably going to go out there and lead laps. That's what he does at Daytona. But the fact of the matter is he rarely finishes the races. So if you can get that little bit of leverage of these things that don't even take into account dominator points or anything. Logano basically needs to win this race to be in the optimal. I would rather take my chance and go like 10% on Logano and get that little bit of an edge with, if he's at 20%, get that 10% edge, and then take the other edges on the guys starting 1st through 7th that are also going to garner ownership, go 0% on them, and just take my chances and just go all place differential because that's all that matters. I'm trying to pull up the last few optimals or the highest scores in recent Daytona races. Okay. 2024 top 6 scorers on DraftKings starting position in the Daytona 500. 38th, 28th, 29th, 18th, which is Byron, who won the race, 24th and 34th. The year before, 31st, 29th, 38th, 40th, 24th, and 9th. There's a single digit guy that made it, Chris Buescher. That could be the Denny Hamlin. That could be the Joey Logano. That could be the Ross Chastain today. That's why I want a little bit of exposure to them, because yes, it does happen. It happened in 2023 with Chris Buescher. Fact of the matter is, though, I love saying facts of the matter today for some reason. The guys right after Buescher were Cody Ware, who started 35th, and Chastain starting 23rd in 2023. Again, you don't need to nail the optimal. 2022 was a little bit different. We did have quite a few high starters make it into the highest scoring. We had Cindric, who started 5th, Blaney, who started 7th. That was in addition to Almirola starting 38th, David Reagan 34th, Bubba Wallace 16th, Daniel Hemrick 22nd. So yes, there are examples of the guys starting top 10 making it into the optimal. I understand that. But the vast majority of the time, those guys don't make it. And I will take my chances in people being overweight on the guys starting up front and try to make my money with the guys in the back, because it makes the most sense. Yeah, I agree. Like I'm fully on board with that. Like I said, top 7 to me, 100% fade. Hamlin is where I can start getting some exposure, Chastain some exposure, Logano some exposure, and just go from there. Where it gets a little weird, it's like Reddick sitting there in 11th. I mean, LaJoy and the Allmendinger, I think, are going to be solo owned. You can probably just go with the field on them. Same with Todd Gilliland. But where it gets really interesting then is like Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, that range. Kyle Busch, who's the favorite, according to sportsbooks today, to win this race. He's going to get a good chunk of ownership starting 21st. And yes, the place differential upside is there. But again, I'd rather go underweight. I'd rather have the higher ceiling guys, the higher upside guys from the back instead of Kyle Busch. Not to say I hate Kyle Busch and I'm not going to pick him. I'm just going to go less than what other people are, because I feel like his name, how he's been performing on super speedways is going to bump his ownership up enough for me to get an edge of where he should actually be starting 21st, because 21st still isn't starting 41st. He still doesn't have the potential to jump up 40 positions in the race like Castro Neves does. You look at this chart here. Kyle Busch starting 21st, he finishes 8th. That's 49 DraftKings points. Jimmy Johnson starting 40th gets that by finishing 17th. So the ceiling is just so much higher for these guys starting in the back. Rotoballer does have an optimizer. It's in the package. So there's 3 packages this year. The middle package is just my content. The top package includes the optimizer. If you use my code today, you get if you get the top package, use Jordan 25, you're gonna get the optimizer total for I think 130 for the year. Bye, Nick.
Hello.
I didn't see you jump in. All right. I've already gotten on a major tangent and haven't even built a single lineup in here yet. I don't know if you've been watching, but let me switch this out. All right. What's up?
Man, it's Daytona. I'm excited. I'm trying to work out all my lineups as well. I have a whole bunch of rules built into my optimizer, and now I'm just kind of tweaking those to get everything where I want it. But got through all the major content, and now I'm ready to talk NASCAR with you guys.
Yeah, I will say it was fun getting back into the content game this weekend. I am thoroughly exhausted right now, just between all the work I've done, not only on NASCAR but some other stuff these past few days. But I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No, absolutely. It's between the duels and I'm not doing Xfinity or trucks this year, but I've been, kind of revamping my model and just making sure it works again, after the off season and all that stuff. So, and then just diving through every driver, every sports book for betting, all the different markets. There's so much to do. So I'm ready. I'm ready for the race. And dude, it could be chaotic because if that line of storms hits right around halfway, that could create now if it hits and they know it's going to hit well before halfway, that'll make it, probably not so bad. But if it's going to be right around halfway, maybe a little bit later, that could create just absolutely intense racing for, stage 2, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention, and I talked about this in my article, you remember back the race that the $1 million parlay happened.
Yep.
The rain is what caused that. The rain took out all the leaders. We could see that again today if a storm hits at the right time, hits turn 1 and NASCAR doesn't have time to call the caution.
Yeah, that's not on NASCAR unless the drivers are saying for half a lap, hey, you got to throw the caution, hey, you got to throw a caution. But if it's just a sudden, it's sweeps over turn 1 or turn 3 at the exact right time, it's just an absolute downpour. There's nothing NASCAR can do about it if that's the moment it hits the track, right? So, just one of those spots where it absolutely could happen, and it could be completely out of NASCAR's hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's what like obviously we shit on NASCAR for a lot of stuff, a lot of decisions that they make, but Daytona is a 2.5 mile track, and storms aren't, storms can hit just part of the track, so we can see that happen, and it's going. If that happens, it could potentially cause even more chaos in a race that already is high stakes enough that it causes mass chaos. But got Ty Dillon for your 36 for 36. Reminder, everybody, go to stackingdenny's.com, get your 36 for 36. You'll compete against us. I'll have a leaderboard going all year. Get over there. I think we got a good chunk of entries already, so should be fun. Nice. Thanks to everybody that's jumped in already, and hopefully we get some more. That was a lot of fun.
I think Ty Dillon and Cody Ware will be the 2 highest used in 36 for 36 today.
I agree. Yeah. Obviously you were, if you listened to Stacking Denny's earlier this week, Nick has Cody Ware and I have Ty Dillon. So, okay. Let's talk this slate. Who do you want to start with? How do you like, what do you think of teammate correlations today?
I have none built in. Absolutely none. Okay. I built a lot in for the duels, and they didn't really, teammates didn't really work together that well. I mean, you look at like the finishing orders of the duels, and there's no teammate combinations there, right? Like even Ty Dillon, he was running up front, but AJ Allmendinger had a run from a third lane on the outside. They like Ty Dillon and AJ Allmendinger weren't even hooked up in their duel, and then they tried to get hooked up at the end. And now you just add in, instead of 22 cars, now we got 41 cars. It's going to be even harder to find your teammates, and it's even higher stakes here than just a dual win. So I have no teammate correlation built in whatsoever.
I was mentioned earlier, I did that top 10 parlay boost on DraftKings, and I just did some teammates because the odds are shit. So I was like, whatever. I put like minimal correlation. Last year's Millie winner left $4,600 on the table. Total ownership was 149. So just getting back earlier, but some of these guys here, obviously, Keselowski is going to be high ownership. Alex Bowman's going to be high ownership. Stenhouse, super high. I think Kyle Busch is going to be up there. Jimmy Johnson, Truex, the big names starting in the back. What do we think? Who's your favorite, I guess, obvious but not obvious pick, starting deep in the field, but is gonna have that low ownership today?
I actually really do think that Zane Smith is going to be under-owned. I know some places maybe are projecting to be higher, but he's $5,800. This is the, half millionaire maker and we get all the casuals in, and we've seen drivers of Zane's caliber, Todd Gilliland or those other types when they were rookies or first or second year drivers start in the mid 30s and be like 15% owned, right? So I'm projecting Zane at 20% owned, and I think that has the potential to be too high. But I know other places, I know Stevie, for example, is projecting Zane higher than 20%, closer to 30% owned. So I think there's a lot of uncertainty as to a driver like Zane Smith as to what his ownership will be. I think he could be too low owned and he's starting 37th. But then, similarly for Carson Hocevar starting 33rd as well. And I think he's a real candidate to be under owned.
Yeah, I agree there. Guys in that range, like right above the Stenhouses, the Keselowski. So like Hocevar, Gregson, Custer, Josh Berry, Cody Ware, Ryan Preece, SVG. Even I'd go up to McDowell, Herbst, and get like right between like Larson and going down to the big names in the back. I think that's going to be the honey hole today that I want to attack because the ownerships are going to be so low there with the upside. But I'm with you. I think Zane's going to be. I think I'm with you on Zane being low owned. He only has like 3 starts here, and when drivers don't have track history, they tend to, even when they start further in the back, they don't get the ownership because people just don't trust them. Like Castroneves, I think, is going to be super low owned today compared to where someone should be starting dead last just because nobody knows him, and that's just how it is. And and the opposite is true. Johnson and Truex are going to get those boosts for who they are. Like their ownership's going to go high. So
I've seen the comments on Twitter. Castroneves is going to wreck. He's the whole field. He's 99% to wreck. That kind of stuff. You see the comments, and that's what people think. And if they watched the duel race, they saw him comically lose control of his car when other cars were wrecking in front of him, and then he seems like he hit all the cars in the ARCA race, but he still brought the car home and finished the ARCA race inside the top 10 and was running first and second until like a couple laps to go. So just because it looks comical or people think Elio's going to wreck doesn't mean he will. He also could have something where he's trying to come on a pit road or get in and out of his pit box and stalls it. And then he's half a lap down and avoids the big one that way. Right. And that all of a sudden elevates him to last car that hasn't gotten smashed up, which could be like 15th. If you go from 41st to 15th, you're probably going to be in the optimal lineup or darn near close to it. So I have Elio Castroneves. I'm with you. I think he's going to be low, and I think he's going to be between 10 and 15%. I have his optimal at 25%, just based off my model simulations.
Yeah, I haven't projected right at 16% ownership today, and I don't mind being in that 25 to 30 range on him, just because the upside is far too high. And like I said, it's one of those where it's common sense, but at the same time, it's not, and people aren't going to do it. You mentioned driver salary, and I think that's going to play a huge part today because it is so easy today to leave money on the table and not go with these low dollar guys, which is another reason why I think you mentioned Zane Smith, even Jimmy Johnson down there could bring his ownership level down. Cody Ware's another one starting 28th. I think he's going to be crazy low owned. But it's normal DFS mentality to try and use as much cap as possible. And even the smartest players in NASCAR DFS know that you don't have to. But it's still, if you're sitting there with a ton of cap on the table and you're choosing between, you're filling out your lineup and you're debating between, let's say Castroneves and like a Suarez or a Gregson, you're gonna like a lot of people are gonna jump up to those other guys, which again is going to take the ownership levels of the lower, like the super low price guys down even further, which is another reason I like a Cole Custer down there too as well. Just the low dollar guys, because like it's a weird mentality to try to predict, but it's also somewhat predictable with how these races play out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, all those guys that aren't the big, what I'm calling the big four, which is going to be Truex, Bowman, Keselowski, and Stenhouse for sure. Potentially Daniel Suarez could be up there in ownership, but really it's definitely those big four, and then maybe Suarez, I think, will be the 5 highest owned drivers. And then you're right. Anybody from like 24th on back, even if you want to throw Riley Herbst in there, I think he's going to be ridiculously low owned. I have him at like 5.5, 6%. And I have him optimal at double that at 11%. So, if you want to gain leverage on Riley Herbst, I'm totally cool with that. I actually have a rule built into the Fantasy Labs optimizer. I'm taking, drivers starting 23.5 or higher, at least 3 or 4 in a lineup. And I'm specifically made that cutoff between Ty Gibbs and Riley Herbst because Ty Gibbs might be too, perfectly normally owned at where I expect relative to his optimal. And then Herbst has that big drop down. And I think, that is a perfect cutoff spot to like identify as like stacking the back is 24th or worse for me.
What? Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on Herbst. I didn't end up writing it up, but I had the hardest time figuring out who I wanted to write up for tournaments today because there's so many pivot options today. I like them all. There's none I don't like. I know there was a question here earlier, favorite 3, basically pivots. I can't narrow it down. I like them all. I like being being underweight on all of the big names back there, and I like being overweight on all of the little names back there.
Yeah, exactly. It's just an ownership game. We're not taking stances on drivers because any driver can win this race. Any driver can finish top 10 in this race, especially. And for DFS purposes, if you're starting in the back and you finish top 10, you're probably ending up in the optimal lineup. Very, very good chance. And so we're less taking stances on drivers. We all know Brad Keselowski is a great driver. We all know he has a very good shot at ending up in the optimal lineup, but the chances Zane Smith ends up in the optimal lineup is pretty much the same as Brad Keselowski. Yeah, it's going to be higher for Keselowski, but it's not going to be that much higher to where the ownership discrepancy should be that high. So that's what we're talking about when we're saying we like Zane Smith, we like Carson Hocevar or whatever. We're just saying the ownership discrepancy, right? I have between Zane Smith and Brad Keselowski a projected 22.5% ownership discrepancy, but just an 11% perfect percent, being in the optimal lineup discrepancy. So that's like double the chances of being in the optimal lineup is the ownership size gap.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to go super underweight on guys like Keselowski. Like I think Kez is going to be 40, in that 40 to 50% ownership range. I'm perfectly fine going mid 30s on him because he still has the upside.
I'm going low.
Are you? It doesn't
here's
surprise
my
me.
Theory. If I have 20% Keselowski and I'm max entering 150 lineups, I have him in 30 lineups and I make up all. So even if he ends up optimal, I still have 30 darts with him where then I'll suddenly be overpopulated on these low owned guys.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense. Would you rather be more underweight on him or Bowman today? Or equally?
I don't think it matters really. I'm definitely going low owned on, I shouldn't say low owned, underweight, appreciably underweight on the big 4 that I named for sure. It's just a matter of how much, right? Because I end up building I max enter a whole bunch of contests and then I just randomize which contests those go in. So even if I have like 25% Brad Keselowski overall among 500 lineups, let's say, it could be that I get like 29% in the milli and 20% in the mini max or something like that kind of thing, just by randomness.
Yeah. Here's a good question. A couple of good questions. Better off to play this question. It's all about your risk tolerance, what you're able, to do. Depending on how many, like you're putting $25 an entry into this contest. If you're taking a stand like this, just be prepared to lose because yes, the possibility of Keselowski not working out is there, but there's also the possibility that he works out. Like we're not saying that this is a bad pick by any means. I wrote up Keselowski in cash. Like it's that's this. But what about, here's a question. What about going overweight on the chalk? I don't think this is the place to do it. There's
yeah, I
too
just
many
don't think it is
options.
because if the chances they're optimal is 40% or 35% and they're going to be 45 to 50% owned, then if they wreck, you know, you would have gotten leverage by just playing them at their optimal if they wreck. And then now you're just losing extra leverage. It's actually like negative leverage. So going overweight on the chalk at an absolute chaos race is not the move, in my opinion.
Mm-mm. No, and it kind of gets swayed a little bit because I feel like over the last couple of years, there's been a little bit of uptick where the chalk hits, but
Yeah.
that's standard DFS NASCAR. And eventually things are going to equal out and we're going to get where the chalk doesn't hit at these. So I'm not worried about it. Again, I'd rather take the lower owned guy that has similar upside. And that to me, like when you look at Keselowski this week, the guys that have the exact same upside as him are Gragson, Hocevar, Haley, Suarez, Zane Smith, and Castroneves. Like they have the same, if not better. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm actually curious to see where Zane ends up in ownership today because there's a lot of people talking about him.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where are we just contributing to more and more Zane love, or
Yeah,
is it gonna be like we expect where he is under owned? There's always one of those every year where it kind of
it gets more and more optimized every year, right? So Todd Gillen was what, like 14% a couple years ago, starting in this range.
Mm-hmm.
Zane Smith's not going to be 14%. He's probably going to be in the low 20s, would be my guess. I think my model might be a touch under on him. I have him at 20%, but if he's 22%, 23%, that's still too low because his optimal is like 27%.
Looking back at last year's Daytona 500, we had Anthony Alfredo. It was a 40-car field. We had Anthony Alfredo starting 39th, that came in at 11% ownership. Daniel Hemrick starting 37th came in at 13% ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I'm seeing Zane Smith being like, or like similar kind of happening.
And here's another thing. You don't have to finish first. I always try to finish first, but if you finish second, you finish third, you finish fourth in the contest, it's still going to be a nice day and you'll cash a lot of lines. So just because a guy is 25% to be in the optimal lineup doesn't mean the actual bankroll maximizing portfolio isn't more like 30% or 33% by starting in the back, right? So there's a difference between what is the chances he ends up in the optimal lineup and what is the bankroll maximizing optimal percentage. And that's going to be even higher than just the single optimal lineup perfect percentage. So, if you're over on Fantasy Labs and you look at and you're subscribed to my RotoDot projections and you see Zane Smith's 23.25 perfect percent, well, he's probably more like closer to 30% bankroll optimal percent, right? Because you want to cash all those other lines as well.
Mm-hmm. Here's an interesting comment. Stenhouse failed. Tech has to drop to the back. Don't care.
He's already in the back.
Yeah. It's there's like, I think there's 10, 12 cars that have to go in the back today. With Daytona, Talladega,
I don't even know who they are, honestly.
I know. Yeah. I couldn't list them. I know like Larson's one of them, but like even like practice, I have not looked at a single practice session this weekend. I'll be completely honest with you. I haven't watched. It does not matter. Practice. No, nothing matters. Hell, there were some teams that didn't even go out for practice. That's how much it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is it too chalky to have Bowman, Kez, and Truex in the same lineup?
Too chalky? It depends. If you're doing a single entry, I would say, yeah, that's probably too chalky. If you're throwing in 150 lineups, you're going to need a portion of lineups that has all three of them. So it depends is the answer. And if it's cash game lineup, you probably should have all three in your lineup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a single entry for sure. I wouldn't go that. But
yeah, single entry 3 max. I don't think there's a need to have all three.
Do you think some of these guys who think will be loaned won't due to all the sim users? It's possible. But also I don't think the sims are taking into account the lesser name guys. Like I don't think all of a sudden Zane's going to be up there with Kez in ownership. So, all right, let's build a lineup here, Nick. Let's just go back and forth. You pick a driver, I'll pick a driver.
I'm gonna go with my Paul Menard pick of the week, Shane Van Gisbergen.
I love it.
Start with an SVG line.
Love it. SVG going in there. Give me Castro Neves.
Yeah, let's go. I do want to get a little chalk in there. I have a feeling he is going to be extra safe because he's not racing for points anymore. Martin Truex Jr.
Mm-hmm. I'm going with the car that won this one right here at Daytona last time. Give me Josh Berry, that 21.
I'll go with another car that won. I should say team that won. No Gregson.
All right. We got a good lineup here. How are we gonna close it out? Let's see. We got a mid-20s guy with SVG and Josh Berry. So he could go mid-20s here again. It could go higher up. I want to stay away from – actually, I'm going to go with I'm throwing Larson in there. I'm capping it off with Larson.
There you go.
I think
good line.
I think he has the best average running position at super speedways in this next gen car. Eventually he's going to finish one of these. So
that's exactly what I was on the radio at Sirius XM NASCAR radio. That's exactly what I was telling Pete Pistone. I was like eventually Kyle Larson's going to get it done. He keeps running up front more and more at these super speedways now. So I like it. There's definitely a strategy to, one guy starting 23rd or forward and then 5 guys starting 24th or back, right? Like, I think that's such a good strategy. Take your bullet with Chase Elliott starting 17th or Tyler Reddick starting 11th, right? Or 10th or whatever it is. And then throw 5 guys starting 24th or worse. Like, that's a very viable strategy of a way of building lineups. Ross Chastain starting 10th, 5 guys starting 24th or worse.
Who's your favorite top 24 starter today?
I really think in terms of expected versus actual ownership, I like Ross Chastain.
He almost won this race last year.
Yep.
He was leading there near the end.
Yeah. If he can win the race,
start today? Ninth.
If he wins the race starting ninth and leads laps, he could be in that winning lineup, just depending on how all the other drivers shake out, right? So I like doing Ross and 5 in the back.
Not to mention like Trackhouse cars. I mean, we saw Suarez up there leading the duel. Like,
they got 4 of them this race.
Yeah. My favorite, I hate to admit it, I hate to start off the season like this, but I love this guy at Daytona all the time. And I think where he's starting is going to bring his ownership down because of who he's surrounded by. And it's Christopher Bell. Starting 20th, he's pinched there between Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Blaney, Chase Elliott. I really like Christopher Bell today.
I actually do have him about 1% projected lower ownership than optimal.
I'm starting this lineup with Bell.
All right, let's get Justin Haley in a lineup.
There we go. Okay, Bell, Haley. I'll stick with Spire here. Give me Hocevar.
I was gonna say the Spire stacks is right there. It's right there. Let's go with the other old guy, Jimmy Johnson.
There we go. Another guy I'm high on for some reason today that I can't believe it. For whatever reason, I think I picked Daytona to be high on guys that I don't like, but I'm going Daniel Suarez.
Okay, good. I thought you were going Ty Gibbs.
I
I was like, whoa. I don't know. Give me what do we have there? We have 40th, 33rd, 35th, 36 with Suarez. We got a lot of 30s. We can go a little further forward if we wanted to. Let's go. Let's go with Cole Custer.
Cold custard. Christopher Bell, Justin Haley, Carson Hocevar, Jimmy Johnson, Daniel Suarez, Cole Custer. Save that one. Blaney's another one of those guys. Like, I love being underweight on the big name guys today.
Yep, same. I'll have some Blaney, but it's not going to be in the 20% range. That's for sure.
What do you think about Kyle Busch? Pretty much the favorite all over.
Like all those other drivers in that range: Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson. I think of them as the same.
Mm-hmm. You pick first here. Let's do a higher guy.
I was going to say I was going to go
Chastain.
With the one I picked was Ross. Yeah, let's go with him.
Okay, Ross Chastain. With Ross being, I think he's going to be. I have him projected at about 8%. I'm going to go a little chalky here. I'm going to go Stenhouse.
Two incredibly aggressive drivers.
Yeah, this is the aggressive line, I guess.
If this is super aggressive line and these guys win, then either they created carnage or there was none at all and they're just aggressive and got to the front. So that's kind of the theory with this lineup. My guess is they probably created a lot of carnage, so I want a super safe driver. Give me Cody Ware.
There, you read my mind. I was just about to say it. All right, so we have two very low owned guys, especially Cody Ware. And sticking with the carnage, I hate to do another chalk guy, but I'm going Kez.
I would have gone Truex, but because I think Truex is super safe. Remember, with the just riding in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with Hocevar in this lineup. I know he's super aggressive, but he tends to play these races incredibly safe as well until the end.
Yeah, he's one of those. Yeah, as aggressive as he is, we won't hear about Hocevar till the end. Because he's going to be 35th all day.
Yep.
If there's a head-to-head stage matchup with him, I would bet the other side 100 out of 100 times. Let's see here. We got three guys in the 30s. We got Ware starting 28th. Let's round this out with fuck it. I'm gonna go Castroneves. If it's chaos and his goal is to to make it through.
I like it. I would really like this lineup with Truex over Keselowski. I think this is wild. This is such a good lineup. I like Keselowski too. I'm just saying. Either version is good.
Yeah. I'll put both in. Chastain, Stenhouse, Hocevar.
And there's your like There's your 10% Ross.
Right.
And that's all you need. You don't need any more Ross lineups after that. Or you could replace Ricky with Kez or something like that. You know, there's options there.
I had Castroneves on there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just under 2 hours till lock. All right. Let's give me I'm just gonna like randomize. I'm gonna put all the drivers and random quick. As you can tell, I'm taking this very seriously. All right, starting with Ryan Preece.
Ryan Preece. RFK Alliance. Let's double it up and go Cole Custer. I know I'm not worried about teammates too much, but every once in a while you can.
I'm sticking with the Ford train. I'm going Zane Smith.
Keselowski.
Oh boy. My mouse up. Give me someone we haven't really talked about here. Michael McDowell.
And let's round it out with I don't know. Alex Bowman. I don't think we put him in a lineup yet.
I like it. It's actually this is a good example of staying on the chalk, but also mixing in, you know, like the Preeces, the Custers, maybe the Zane Smiths, and the McDowells who are going to be low owned. So you still have your chalk exposure, but you're still getting those other guys. This is a good example of a lineup that can do both. Because that's certainly, you know, you never want to go 100% either way, you know, depending on how aggressive you want to get. But let's do. All right. You started with Chastain earlier. I'm going to start with Joey Logano.
He could dominate this race for sure. If he dominates this race, I don't want anybody else starting up near the front. So, you know, has to be somebody in the 20s or deeper. You know, I think he ends up taking it away from another big name then, because if he's dominating, it could be a calmer version of a race. And I think maybe he holds another big name off from a win. So maybe he holds off Kyle Busch.
Ooh. I like that. Two of the favorites. Give me Martin Truex Jr. here.
I'm gonna go with Noah Gragson.
I like it. Am I missing him? Where am I? There we go. I'm gonna go with a guy that I'm actually surprised was priced this high. Ryan Preece.
Like it. And then I'll take Justin Haley as the last pick in this lineup. I think Justin Haley is a really good super speedway racer. And if it's going to be calmer, he's one of those guys in the back, starting in the back, that can find his way to the front still. Whereas maybe less so Zane Smith or those kinds of guys.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. If anybody in the chat has some drivers to start with or any questions, throw them in there. Thoughts on Allgaier? That's a good one.
I think it's interesting because when I look at betting odds, right? So I know it sounds something that maybe, why are you talking about betting? Well, some books have Justin Allgaier 25-1, like DraftKings, 30-1 at BetMGM, 25-1 at Caesars. Those are all crazy, but that tells you that people have been betting Allgaier, and it's Dale Jr.'s car. I actually think he's going to be potentially too high owned.
I could see. I honestly could. I think we could see, like you said, the Junior effect. You know, back when Junior was racing, that like what we see now with Chase Elliott and even Kyle Larson, they get an ownership boost just because of who they are. And yeah, I'm with you. I think Allgaier could see the exact same thing. And I'm not like it is what it is. I don't want to take a stand on him because he's starting where is he starting? 19th. So it's not like where I want to go crazy heavy on him, and I'm fine going underweight on him. I don't really.
Yeah.
I'm fine with if I go. Yeah,
I just throw him into the optimizer and see what happens, kind of thing.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm hand building lineups, he's not a guy I'm picking typically.
Right. Here's a good starter. Let's start with the Ty Gibbs lineup.
He might be my least favorite driver on this, not because of him. He's not good at super speedways.
No.
He doesn't lead.
I'd much rather have
We're talking Xfinity too. He doesn't lead. He doesn't get up front. Yeah, he won that one Atlanta race, but he didn't lead a lot, and that's his only super speedway win in a series he dominated. So he's not good at super speedways. But we can start with the Gibbs lineup. It's not like he can't end up optimal. I will have Gibbs. I mean, he's starting 23rd. I will have some Gibbs.
But remember, that's that cutoff line that you were talking about.
Yeah. I think he'll be too high owned relative to his ability at this track, but that's okay. He still could finish optimal. Let's go Truex. Let's have Gibbs and Truex right around in the back.
There we go. Gibbs, Truex. I'm gonna throw Ware in there again.
Yeah, I think this is one of those, like, if Gibbs is hitting, I personally think it's more carnagey and he survives it. So I like these safe options, these Truex, these Wares, Johnson's, Castro Neves. So yeah, let's do Castro Neves again.
Another safe guy. I'm going Hosor.
Yep. Yeah, I like this line a lot, based off the way we've structured it. The other option is Jimmy Johnson. I don't want to go that route, but certainly that's a safe option as well. I do think we can find an aggressive driver in here that'll win. Let's see. Who do I like that's aggressive that could win? Let me go back to the player pool here. Let's go Daniel Suarez.
I was gonna say that. That's funny. We're on the same wavelength today.
Yeah.
Gibbs, Truex, Cody Ware, Castroneves, Hocevar, and Suarez.
I think Keselowski was like the obvious. Who's the aggressive that's going to win? Keselowski and Stenhouse.
Yeah.
But then like Suarez has been doing better at these, and he's got to win now. He's not like not aggressive. So I don't know. It's just kind of like I didn't want to pick Kez. It was a little too. We've had too much like Kez Truex, Kez this guy, Kez that guy. Like I want to get off of the Kez, off the Stenhouse. Suarez makes sense.
Right. Here's a good question. Getting away from DFS a little bit. Any tips on how to bet this race besides live betting?
Live betting,
which was that was going to be my answer. I love live betting at Daytona.
You got to shop everything and just look at everything. I'm probably going to get my ass handed to me in betting simply because I'm betting 65 to 1s, 70 to 1s, right? But that's what happens. If you bet 10, 65 to 1s, right, you're still only, still only 15% to win. If their implied odds were true, right? So it's still only 15% to hit just even one of those bets. So, it's just kind of my strategy. It's Daytona, it's chaos. You can't bet anybody that's shorter than like 15 to 1 for an outright. You can't bet anybody for a top 10 that's shorter than like plus 175, even among the favorites, right? Like I have the highest top 10 percentage I have of any driver is Blaney at 40%, which would be like plus 150. So then you scale down from there. Well, if Blaney's 150, guys like AJ Allmendinger are probably plus 400 or something as fair value. What do I have AJ Allmendinger top 10? I just made that up off the top. 18.3%, right? So plus 445. Yeah. So it's hard to bet these guys for top 10 finishes because the books know that, right? They don't have anybody except like 3 guys longer than like plus 300 something. So there's just no value in top 10s anymore. That market's been killed. So you got to shop around. You got to find more oddball markets, top manufacturer, top, some of these props on Caesars, like over under lap deals or starting position deals, but it's a pretty tight market out there these days. So I would say just embrace the chaos, take a few long shots, sit back, relax, and enjoy, and hope one of them hits. It's about it.
Yeah, I'm on board. My strategy with betting is my true betting doesn't really start until like week 3. I never have too many bets outside the long shots on Daytona just to have some fun. Atlanta, same thing. Give me the third race of the season. I don't even remember what it is this year, but I want to enjoy these races. Yeah, a lot of these markets, there's nothing. But to me, there's top 10. There's nothing to bet. There's no value there. It's as awesome as it is to see some of these, like, most fastest laps odds and stuff like that. I fully not expecting to win that. Again, though, something to root for. One interesting one I saw on Caesars was leader at lap 10.
I saw that too, and I looked at the past few races. The leader at lap 10 was always a guy starting in the front, except the year there was a caution last year on like lap 8 or something. And even then it was the driver starting 4th. It was Bell who led lap 10, but second was David Reagan, who started 40th because a whole bunch of people pitted and either he did or didn't. And, the lap leader was based off pit road shit.
Really?
Yeah. But every other year it's been just drivers starting inside the top 10 for a good handful of years. I wanted to go like Keselowski 150 to 1 on that, but I just don't think he makes it up to the front in time.
No. It's interesting. Like we got Hamlin sitting at 12, Logano at 16 on that, Chastain at 15. But those are the only ones I'd even potentially
consider. Yeah.
I will say stage 1 winner. Oh, Keselowski got bet down bad. He was at 80 to 1 when I checked this morning, and I didn't pull the trigger.
Wow.
He's at 20 now.
I would have bet that in a heartbeat if I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know why
I woke up and I immediately did a radio hit and then hopped on here. So I haven't, right? Because I'm farther out west than y'all. So I haven't had a chance to browse odds even this morning at all. Any odds browsing I did was last night.
Got some stage 1 matchups on Bet365. I'm just checking out now.
Oh, I like those. Yeah, I mean, plus money matchups, if you can find them out there, plus money matchups where two drivers are relatively equal in talent and equipment is always the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Because it's essentially a coin flip.
I bet a few at Circa. Circa had a bunch, and I bet a few of them. They moved on my action. So Circa has me labeled as a sharp NASCAR bettor. I don't track those in the action app or anything like that because most states don't have Circa, and the head-to-heads they were offering are not available at like other books. Some of the specific ones.
I wish Circa would come to Ohio.
Yeah, they do. Both fortunately and unfortunately, they do bookmaking the right way. So it's a lot harder for them to get into new states because of tax laws and other various things where they want to keep, holds down and limits large. So it's just not as feasible for them to go into as many states.
Man, if Keselowski wins this first stage, I'm going to kick myself for not betting that. All right. Here's one. What's our rain hitting at 4 p.m. lineup?
Rain hitting at 4 p.m. lineup.
That's an interesting, kind of strategy to take. Because to me, like rain hitting at 4 p.m., I'm immediately starting with a Cody Ware or something like that.
And the race isn't over too, right? Like it could hit at 4 p.m., then they dry the track and run the rest of it, until they have to like midnight, 1 a.m. there. They have lights. They can go as late as they want. I mean, the Juan Montoya Fireball race hitting the truck went to like 3 a.m. So, they could definitely still race after the rain too, but that doesn't mean the urgency won't be there. It just means it makes those Cody Ware type plays even better because then there's more chance for chaos. Yeah, I mean, you immediately go Cody Ware, you immediately go Jimmy Johnson or Elio Castroneves, one of those two, probably Castroneves.
Got Ware and Castroneves in there.
I think you got to mix it up. Like there'll just be random drivers that survive. So it could be somebody starting further forward too. Maybe this is your Justin Allgaier lineup or something.
Might as well throw him in there for shits and giggles. Oop. All right, Ware, Castroneves, Allgaier.
The worst thing you could do is pick guys that you think will run in the middle of the pack. Your Cole Custers, your Zane Smiths, your potentially even your Noah Gregsons. Like those are the guys I don't want to pick in this lineup because they'll be running the middle of the pack when the whole field gets wiped out, right? So I kind of like a Justin Haley because he could be out front. He was out front when the rain hit last time, but maybe by being out front, he avoids it this time. Maybe it starts with a second or third round.
So something like that, like I was thinking Kyle Busch or hell,
I think
maybe
anybody
even Hamlin.
I think anybody you think either is leading or near leading or way in the back. I'm fine with any of those choices.
I'm gonna throw Hamlin on here.
I definitely want to go with Justin Haley. I think he's of the drivers in the back that aren't like super chalky. He's the most likely to like be up front and leading.
And then I think someone like so I think someone like Noah Gragson would be a decent cap off there.
Yeah. I'm also fine with going somebody like starting further forward, right? If you wipe out the middle of the field, That's the lineup you could have like your 8th and 11th place starter. I'm just making up numbers. Ending up optimal. So I think
What
this
about
is pretty
Ryan
wide.
Blaney?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to build
there's
a Blaney lineup.
Yeah, there's our rain lineup. Cody Ware, Castroneves, Allgaier, Haley, Hamlin, and Blaney.
I like it.
Why is Stenhouse starting in the back? He probably just changed something.
Don't know.
Let me see. All right. Bowman, Johnson, Keselowski, Stenhouse, Suarez, Truex. Thoughts?
Bowman, Johnson, Brad, Stenhouse, Suarez, Truex. That's like a cash game lineup, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
That has to be a cash game lineup.
Who am I missing on here? Stenhouse. Yeah, that's definitely cash game. I mean, I can't say anything bad about it, but I don't see it.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
It's fine to put in your. It's fine, actually. I don't mind putting it in some higher dollars because, you're getting Jimmy Johnson, who people may be a little bit scared off of, but they're 5 or the other 5 are chalky.
Yeah. So yeah, solid cash game lineup there.
Yep.
Let's see here. Yeah, he had that milli entry. I just don't see it taking down the half a milli maker. It's possible though. I mean,
yeah, it's just if it does, you're going to be splitting that with 20 other people, at least.
Build one for who you would most hate to see win.
Oh boy, Carson Hocevar.
There we go. Most hate to see win.
I love this one. That's a great one. Great comment.
I have a weird hatred for Ryan Preece, and I can't explain it.
I'm fine with that. Obviously Ty Gibbs.
Yep. I think we're both on board there.
I would most hate, from a DFS perspective, to see Chase Briscoe go out and lead 80 laps and win.
Oh God.
We're not doing that though. As an actual lineup.
Yeah. That would be like a. I can't say Hamlin anymore because him and I are friends now.
That's right. You and Denny are buddies.
I've also similar to Ryan Preece. I've always just not liked Justin Allgaier that much, so I'm throwing him on there.
All right, so we're going a little weird on this lineup, with Allgaier and Gibbs. Let me go. Who in the back do I least? Oh, Keselowski. I'm not a Keselowski fan.
Obvious choice here is for me is Daniel Suarez to cap this thing.
And I think if you're a gambler, you can also least like Keselowski because he's anti-gambling.
He's anti-gambling?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He thinks it's a drain on society and makes people lose their hard-earned money.
Wow. Okay. Gotten a few questions, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. John Hunter Nemechek.
Again, he's like an all-guyer for me. I'm not specifically building him into lineups, but he's not off the table by any means.
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to take a stand. I'm not. I like him. I liked him in the duels. I bet him top 3 for the duels with Eric Jones.
Yeah.
I just wish he started like 24. I wish him and Herbst. I wish he started where Herbst did, and I'd like him a lot more. But like starting right there at 18th, I don't see Nemechek like legitimately competing for the win. But I didn't see that with Harrison Burton last fall either. But that 18 range is just, it's really weird because to even hit 50 points in DraftKings, you have to finish 6th. So like the upside is there, but it's not there. So yeah, I don't love, I don't hate John Hunter Nemechek. Probably just try to stay with the field. No hate for Logano.
Well, I didn't have the last pick there.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, we were starting to get two drivers getting too far forward, right?
Yeah.
Like I wanted to build a lineup that at least still had a chance. Yeah. But if you're starting 4 guys 23rd or better or something like that, it's not a lineup that's gonna have a chance at all.
And yeah, John Hunter Nemechek, if this is who you're talking about, Gooden is, yeah, he has good finishes.
Oh,
here.
I know. I've been giving John Hunter Nemechek bets out left and right this week. It's just he's also never finished better than 7th at a super speedway, so there's that. Like he can survive and finish top 11, but he's never pushed into the top 5 yet. And when you're starting that far forward, you're going to be needing to push into the top 5.
Yeah. How about a Larson Blaney start? I like this because it's 2 of the 3 highest priced guys on this slate.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about salary cap not meaning much. I like it.
SVG, Palmer pick of the week.
Oh, we haven't said his name in a while. I'm gonna go Custer.
We need some 30s action.
Yep.
So let's go back the old well, Zane Smith.
There we go. I like it because we're not. It's not the super chalk, but it's the 37th because Blaney and Larson are going to be pretty high owned.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of like our chalk in this lineup. And honestly, I'd cap this off with Castro Neves.
Yeah, that's fine. Castro Neves, Johnson, one of those 2.
Yeah.
Love it.
Again, guys, if you have any comments, throw them in there. Here's one for you. How would you build around Busher? Other than I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want a Busher lineup, he has to win. He has to lead laps. So if he's winning and leading laps, his teammates are probably helping do that. Now, does that mean his teammates are going to be optimal? I don't know, but at least it certainly correlates with running up front. So I actually do think you throw in a Keselowski in this lineup.
And again, teammate wise, I'm just going to stick to RFK here. I'm going Priest.
Yeah, makes sense. And then you can just pick anybody at that point. Just make sure they're starting far
Right.
enough back. I don't have any strong feelings. Like, let's go Alex Bowman or something.
Yep. Yeah. Give me Hocevar.
Carson Hocevar. I like it. And let's go. I don't want to go too chalky. Let's go somebody like I don't know. I'm looking over here. Let's go Josh Berry.
I like it. Outside of Busher, but yeah, if you're gonna roll it.
Exactly. But if you have to have a Busher line, right? Like
see, who's someone we haven't really. Oh, Riley Herbst. Let's start there.
trying to think, like, is there an angle on Riley Herbst aside from he just randomly finishes up front?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could go the Toyota angle, but I think more likely it's he just randomly finishes up front.
Yeah, it may end up being a little bit more chaotic, and he just kind of survives. If Riley Herbst is finishing up front, maybe Jimmy Johnson's finishing up front.
Mm-hmm. Go back to my old trusty random.
The old random.
I'm not going Briscoe. Let's go Chase Elliott.
Excuse me. Yeah, I like that. It's kind of fun. Let's go Stenhouse.
Mm-hmm. Give me Noah Gragson.
Noah. And I guess an interesting thing would be, right, so we have Riley Herbst. Somebody else starting right in that range. But instead of SVG, let's go McDowell. So it's like 3 further back, 2 kind of in the middle, and then Chase Elliott a little further forward.
Mm-hmm. To me, just off like the top of my head and first looking at this, it's like the place differential is there. I kind of wish there was a little bit more, but I'm also okay with it, because there's still 3 guys starting 31st or worse.
Yeah, exactly. And one of them is Johnson starting way back in 40th.
Mm-hmm. Dave Jones, SVG, anyone? Absolutely. We talked a little bit about SVG.
Love SVG today. Not going crazy, right? But like 15%, 20% in that neighborhood is nice and juicy for SVG, who I think will be closer to 10% owned.
Let's do another one with him. Where's he at? SVG starting 26th.
We'll go Suarez. Ugh, excuse me. Still waking up, y'all.
Jimmy Johnson.
Bowman.
Give me Cole Custer.
And
I'm curious where you go with this because we got 3 really deep. We got
Yeah.
Custer there in 30th and then SVG in mid 20s. Because you could go another deep starter or you could go a little bit toward the front.
Yeah, I was thinking somebody with more upside. I was thinking somebody with more upside. But I don't think I want it to be Keselowski, because that's kind of chalky, similar with like Stenhouse. So I was thinking in that Bell, Larson, Busch range, whatever your favorite is of those, I think would be a nice way to round out that lineup.
Christopher Bell.
There you go.
I like that lineup a lot. I like all these lineups.
Yes, pretty good.
What's your favorite outright pick?
At current odds, let me scroll through the boards here. Tyler Reddick 35-1, or Chris Buescher 25-1, or Byron 22-1. Those 3. Which, now that Reddick's 35, I'm actually going to bet him.
Where's he 35 at?
I'm seeing it at Caesars.
Yep.
Let me just, at least per our Action Network Discord, or not Discord, odds board. Buescher at 25 is right there and where I'd want to bet him.
I'm also in that 25 range of my favorite outright, and I have not bet this, but give me Bell 25. I might end up betting that.
Yeah, I'm seeing Buescher's now 22, so scratch him off there. But I'm putting in my Tyler Reddick bet here. And as always, Caesars has to review it.
Buescher's still 25 at FanDuel, by the way.
$25 at FanDuel, nice.
Yep. And as far as long shot, I bet it at 60. It looks like you can get him at 65 now. I like Suarez.
Suarez?
Yeah. Who would think that 2 bets that I like right now are freaking Christopher Bell and Daniel Suarez? My arch nemesis and my second arch nemesis.
Let me just need to make sure I didn't move the Reddick line before I track it. I did. Of course. I can't even track it. I moved the line.
Blaney or Busch on DraftKings?
Blaney.
Why? I want to know if your reasoning's the same as mine.
I think he's better. And he starts further forward, which I think will balance his ownership with Kyle Busch pretty equally. And I think Blaney's better. I think Busch will have high ownership because he's in some sports books the single race favorite, which is stupid, but yeah.
A lot of them, actually. When I was browsing this morning, I think I counted 5 that just straight up have Kyle Busch as the favorite.
Yeah. I
But
think he
yeah,
should be
I think
among.
there's.
I think he should be among the favorites. I don't think he should be the race favorite. To me, that's Blaney or Logano.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm there. I think there's going to be about a 7 to 10% discrepancy in ownership between the two, Bush being higher. I'd rather go because of that, I'd rather go Blaney.
Yeah. Makes sense.
We think so looking at we got an hour and 15 minutes left till lock. About 11,000 spots still open in the big GPP. Be interesting to see if that fills. I think it will.
Very interesting.
If not, it's going to be close. I'm more concerned about the $500 contest not filling. There's 800 total spots in that one, and there's still 140 openings right now.
Yeah.
But everything
I
else
haven't
is
thrown
looking pretty
anything into
healthy.
I haven't thrown anything into the 500. I think the issue with the 500 is right. Like it's $360,000 total prize pool, 100,000 to first. So more than 25% is going to first place. I just hate those structures. I'll do it for the milli or for the $500,000 with like $25 entries and stuff. But to max enter 24 entries on $500 is $12,000 to max enter. And you're actually getting for first place 1/5 less than the $500,000 maker on a still bad structure. So I think that's why people aren't entering that. It's a terrible contest, honestly.
Yeah, for there to be such a gap between first and fourth, 100,000 down to 10,000. I mean, even third to fourth, it goes from 25 to 10. Like, oh, I that's where I've always played is the high dollar contest, and I have no interest in that. Outside of, if I want to throw a freaking dart and hope I hit the 100K, just to have, but I don't
like look
really,
at the
I
slingshot,
don't
right? It's a $3 entry, $20,000 total prize pool, or I say $200,000 total prize pool, but 20,000 to first. So only 10% to first, and then it's 10% of that to 10th, right? So like it's really nice structure, and you're only paying $60 to enter, max enter.
Yeah, some of these contests, whether it be the prize structure or just there was quite a few in this first race. I was disappointed at how small they made them. I am I think I'm going to enter the third gear one though. That has a similar price structure. It's 33 per entry, 3 entry max. Top prize is 3,000, second is 2,000, third is 1,000. Like that is a good prize structure. That third.
Yeah, I'm already in on the third gear as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. And like obviously I'm gonna enter the $500,000 maker. I'm not gonna max enter it just because I don't do that, but I'm gonna enter it just to have a dart. But
I not have an entry.
All right.
Somehow I don't.
Lowest owned drivers starting in the 30s. I think it's probably going to be if you count Custer starting 30th, it's going to be Custer. After that, I think it'll be Gregson.
Yeah.
All right, let's get here. Let's do a lineup.
I gotta get to build my own. Yeah,
that's true. We still got we got an hour and 12 minutes. Yeah. All right. Yeah, if you need to hop off here, go ahead. I'm gonna close out the rest of these lineups and just kind of randomly build some.
I'll catch you all. Good luck to everybody today.
Yep. Good luck, Nick.
See ya.
Thanks for coming on. All right. So just gonna start doing random. Again, if you have any places you want to start, go ahead and throw it in the comments and we'll go from there. Line up around Elliott. If I'm going Elliott, it's a bit of it's going to be chalky just because of who he is. So I kind of want to get off the chalk the rest of the lineup. I like Ryan Preece in the higher 20s. So I'd probably go Preece here. As far as, going back deeper in the field, Castronova starting dead last. I don't think his ownership is going to be as high as it should be. So I'm going to throw Castronova on there with Chase and Preece. And then give me someone I just talked about, Noah Gragson. Gives you the place differential upside, but the ownership's probably not going to be there or where it should be. So we got Chase Elliott, which is kind of chalky, and then some guys that are going to be lower owned than they should. I'm going to go, instead of going the obvious chalk with this next spot of going like a Kez or a Bowman, I'm going to go with Stenhouse. Yeah, he's starting further back, but Stenhouse by himself, typically his ownership goes down a little bit just because of his reputation of wrecking so much. So he's chalky, but he's not like the craziest chalky here. So we got Castronova, Gragson, Stenhouse, Preece, and Elliott. To cap this one off, I'm gonna go Zane Smith here. Again, kind of building away from the chalk, but still having the place differential upside chalk with everybody else. So I really like this lineup. Obviously, you can switch out Castronova with anyone you want, or you can switch this around. But if I'm going to build around Elliott, that's probably where I'm going to go right there. Start Bell Blaney. Yeah, I'll do one. I'll do one with that. See, to me, if you're going Bell Blaney, the only thing I want to do is then go really deep in the starting order and probably go less chalky. So if we're starting Blaney and Bell, you got 16th and 20th. Yeah, you're going. I think you go really deep there. I mean, you can go Truex, you can go Johnson. Let's just go ahead and go. See, I think a lot of people, too many people, if they're going Blaney and Bell, they're definitely going Bowman and or Keselowski. So I want to stay away from those two for sure back there. They're probably going Truex and or Johnson as well. So I'm going to go and maybe even Suarez, but I am going to go Suarez here, starting 36th. I'm going to throw Justin Haley in here or Hocevar. You can go either or. I'm probably going to go Haley, a couple spots further back. And then I'm gonna try to hit that high 20s or low 30s area here. And give me Josh Berry starting 29th. And then maybe Preece here. Could go SVG, kind of this high 20s range. Maybe a Cody Ware if you're feeling a little wild. Fuck it. Let's go Cody Ware. Just cap this off with Cody Ware here. Eh. I only have 2 guys starting in the 30s with Ware in there. So if I'm going to go Ware, I'm going to take Barry off and go someone else. Probably go. I'm just going to go Johnson here. You can go wherever you want. I'd go high 30s. Herbst in play. Yeah, I think Herbst is definitely in play for this race. He's in that. Nick and I were talking about it earlier. I don't know if you were in here, but like 23.5 is Nick's mark where he's saying he wants to make sure he has drivers starting 24th or worse. So Herbst is definitely in play. Definitely a tournament option. You're not running Herbst in cash, but tournaments for sure. Let's start one with let's go with Kyle Busch. I'm going to grab Haley and Hocevar here. Also going to throw on. This is going to be my Cody Ware lineup. Okay, so we got 2 guys in the 30s. We got Kyle Busch starting 21st, Cody Ware starting 28th. With Ware being on there, I don't mind going another big chalky guy. I was thinking Bowman, but I'm going to throw Truex on here. And I'll just go Bowman too. Go Bowman, Truex, Haley, Hocevar, Ware, and Kyle Busch. Pick 2, SVG, Ware, Gibbs, Herbst, and McDowell. Cody Ware is one of my favorite plays on the slate as far as like ownership wise and his upside. So out of those, I mean, I'd go Ware, SVG. I'll go ahead and I'll do a lineup with both in it. So if you're going Ware and SVG, you can afford to go chalky the rest of the way because SVG and Cody Ware are going to be pretty low owned. I have SVG projected at 10% and Ware at almost 4%. So again, don't mind going chalk after that and give me like a Truex. Truex, Castroneves, Gregson, and let's go. I mean, we can go Bowman here. So you got two very low owned guys that still have decent place differential upside in SVG and Cody Ware. You got the chalk, Truex, and Bowman. Castroneves, who I think is going to be lower owned than he should be, starting dead last. All he can go, the only way he can go is up. And then you got Gregson in there. Again, out of the 30s, I think Gregson's going to be one of the lower owned. It's probably going to be Custer and then Gregson as far as lowest owned. So to get a little overexposure there, I'll go that way, that route. Mm-mm. Oh shit. Got two more left. Then I gotta jump off here. I gotta tweak my rosters a little bit as well. Again, rotoballer.com, use code Jordan25. You're gonna get 35% off. If you just go with my package, you're gonna get the entire year for $99. If you add in the top tier package, which includes the optimizer, which includes our F1 content, all of my NASCAR content, you're going to get the entire year for $130 today only. Use code Jordan25, rotoballer.com. Make sure you head over there. Get in the Discord. That's where I post all my bets as soon as I make them. Coming off my best year ever betting, so make sure you get in there. I think it's going to be another really fun season. So let's have some fun. Let's go. Possible to get 2 under 40. Yeah. Let's do something like that. Okay. So for something like that, give me like I think Josh Berry is definitely going to be under 20%. I think Cole Custer is going to be under 20%. I'm going to go Custer here. I was thinking about going Ware, but honestly, I honestly think that Castroneves is going to be under 20%. I could be wrong there. He could be right on that edge of 20%, but I think Castroneves is going to be under 20%. And then I think Zane Smith's going to be under 20%. And you have room to move here if you go this route. But so if those are our 4 under 20% guys, we got 2 chalk plays there. You can go however you want. To me, I'm probably going like Truex and Bowman here. Actually, let's go Truex and Keselowski. You could even go Bowman and Keselowski if you want, but yeah, I'm going to go Bowman, Keselowski. That's where I'd go to try to get the 4 under 20% and then 2 chalk plays. I'd probably go something like this. You can throw Ware in there. Again, Zane Smith could end up being a lot higher than I project him at. But I do think he's going to be decently low owned. Gregson or host of Flip a Coin. I think Gregson has higher upside to finish well. Hocevar takes too conservative of an approach to these races, and it works out because he avoids wrecks. But to me, he's far too conservative to not get caught up in the wrecks that it affects how high he can actually finish at the end, barring like chaos at the end and making it through that way. So Gregson, I think, is aggressive enough and smart enough to challenge for a top 5, whereas Hocevar, I think, is perfectly fine just getting to the finish and finishing 12th. So considering Hocevar starts 33rd and Gregson starts 32nd, give me Gregson over Hocevar as far as upside potential. In tournaments, I'd rather have Gregson over Hocevar. But neither of them are bad options. Like Hocevar has his own good side with being that that safe with his driving, but as far as like pure potential for upside, I would rather go Gregson over Hocevar. But again, they're both really good picks. I like both of them on this slate. I think they're going to be underowned compared to where they should be. I'm actually just going to throw them both on there for this lineup. Favorite play on the slate. I like so many. That's the problem. But like my absolute, like Nick has his Paul Menard pick of the week. So this is kind of what I'm comparing it to. If I had to create that type of a pick for me for this slate, it would be Cody Ware. I think he's going to be sub 5% owned, and I like him in this race. I like his potential. So yeah, my favorite play, quote unquote, for this slate is Cody Ware. Okay, we got Gregson, Hocevar, and Ware in this lineup. Again, guys, it looks like there's quite a few on there, or a few in here. If you have any questions, any random thoughts, anywhere you want me to roll with this final lineup, go ahead and throw it in the chat. Favorite chalk play, I like Bowman more than Kez, but I like Truex probably the most. Truex is probably my favorite chalk play today. But I like Bowman better than Kez. And what's probably going to happen is I think Kez will be more chalky than Bowman, but it's probably going to be the opposite, especially with Bowman starting 38th and Kez starting 34th. But Kez just has that reputation on super speedways. Favorite lower owned players, like I said, Cody Ware is the super low owned. I think Zane Smith is going to be well low owned. Everybody in that, Riley Herbst is another one. So like the range from Riley Herbst all the way back, it's very hard for me to pick my favorites because I think they're all going to be relatively lower owned than what they should be. So like Herbst, I think is going to be super low owned. Same with SVG. I think Priest is going to be low owned. Obviously Cody Ware, Cole Custer right there at 30th. Like that range right there, I think it's so good in this race. And I'm not going to sit here and say I know which ones, or I'm leaning toward different ones to pick. But I have a feeling that one or two that's going to be the honey hole today. That's going to win someone the $500,000. Is that little area right there of the starting lineup. Honestly, with this lineup, wait, I have Gregson, Hocevar, and Ware to start it out. I might just go pure chalk the rest of the way and go like a Truex, Johnson, Castroneves to wrap it all up. Or, I mean, you could go like a Suarez too. If you didn't want to go like a Truex or a Johnson, you could go again Zane Smith. Yeah, Herbst is one of those guys. He's a good play in theory. It's just you don't want to go too crazy on him because he's still starting 24th. So for him to even crack 50 DraftKings points today, he's going to have to finish 9th, not including Dominator points. So that's just something to remember. Like that's kind of a number I like to pay attention to when building these lines. So like when you look at someone, let's say like Hocevar starting 33rd, for him to hit 50 DraftKings points, he has to finish 13th. So to me, it's a small difference, but that's kind of where you have to think about this. As far as Herbst goes, and try not to get too excited. He still has to finish 9th to get up there. Brad will be highest owned. I agree. I think Keselowski will be highest owned on this slate. I like being underweight on him. Depending on your risk tolerance is how low you can go. But I'm always like that's always my strategy at Daytona and Talladega is go underweight on the super popular plays and get your leverage elsewhere because there's so many good choices starting further back that are going to be significantly less owned than the Alex Bowmans, the Keselowskis, the Truexes on this slate. Guys like Justin Haley, Zane Smith, Noah Gregson, Carson Hocevar, they all have the same or better upside than the chalk guys. Priest or Barry, I actually I like them both a lot. I'll tell you one reason. I flip a coin. My gut says Priest. Yeah, no, Gregson's a good play back there too. You can't go wrong with a guy starting 32nd, who's probably going to be lower than 20% owned. Again, guys, if you're not playing or if you haven't joined 36 for 36, make sure you do. It's really easy to play. You pick one. You get one of the chartered cars for each race of the year. You can't use them twice. Head over to stackingdenny's.com and submit your pick. Nick and I had a ton of fun on that on the podcast last year, and now we want to compete against you guys as well. We'll try to get a prize involved there. See if we can get something going. How high owned is Brad K going to be? I think he's going to be above 40. So I'm perfectly fine being at 20 and hoping he does what he does and ends up wrecking out. But yeah, I think Keselowski's going to be over 40% owned today. Kyle Busch going to be chalky. I think he is. I think he's going to be in that mid 20% ownership. I think he's going to be. I have him projected as one of the top 5 highest owned on the slate, and it's just because all the hype going around him. He's starting 21st, so there's upside there. And don't get me wrong, the 8 Chevrolet is one of the fastest on super speedways right now. There's a reason why Kyle Busch is the favorite. Does that mean he should be that high owned in DraftKings today, starting 21st, when you can get similar upside from or better upside from guys like Justin Haley, Carson Hocevar, Zane Smith that are going to be significantly lower owned than Kyle Busch, that's where I'm at. But yeah, I mean, Kyle Busch is going to be strong today. We've seen it. Things don't change a lot with this next gen car, so he's going to be strong. But will he finish? Like, if he doesn't finish, that's going to be a ton of lineups that are going to be ruined because they went Kyle Busch. I think he'll be owned, but that price is steep. I don't think people are going to be worried about salary cap today. I mean, like this lineup right here, I'm leaving 11.5 on the table. You can make lineups, good lineups, solid lineups, and still have and go chalk and still have plenty left over. I think a Toyota wins. Would not be surprised. They are very fast in the draft. They're very fast overall at super speedways. Wouldn't be surprised at all. All right, we got 45 minutes till lock. I'm going to wrap things up here. I'm going to get my lineups all done, tweak those. Thank you to everybody that joined in on this live. If you have not joined my private DraftKings contest, make sure you do. I tweeted out the link. $10 to enter. Always fun to compete against everybody. Good luck to everybody entering whatever you are in DraftKings. If you have any bets today, good luck. Hopefully we just get a good race. Hopefully the rain. I haven't looked at the radar or if anything's happening right now. I haven't been paying a lot of attention to Twitter. Oh, looks like it's getting pretty windy there. Yeah, wind gusts of 40 to 45 miles an hour right now. Looks like the rain is an hour and a half away from Daytona. So yeah, they're going to get this thing started. That's another thing with the wind. We don't really know how that's going to affect the cars. But looks like the rain is definitely going to hit. Excuse me. It'll all just be when, and I think we'll finish this. The race will finish at night. But yeah, again, thank you all for tuning in. Rotoballer.com. Use code Jordan25 today only. Before the Daytona 500, you're going to save 35% with that promo code. All of my content all year, plus the optimizer, plus F1 content, $130. If you followed my bets for 1 week last year, you paid for that 10 times over. So rotoballer.com, code Jordan25, and we'll see you guys next week I'm sure we'll do another live. All right. See you guys. Good luck.